Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. I am so honored, humbled, all the things I'm supposed to say. I do apologize for the fire alarm thing. Like, I knew I had booked an entirely flaming lineup, but I did not know that we would cause technical difficulties. But here we are. We're doing it. We're doing it well. I am so happy to be here in Portland. I love Portland. Who all here is from Portland? All right, so at least that amount of people has been here for like 5-10 years. How many of you are actually born in Portland? Oh, wow. See, notice how that was a different number of people. I knew. This has been my city long enough that I know. I'm not born here either. I know we're all transplants. We're all refugees from the rest of the states. It's great being an interstate refugee. God bless America. Things have been going well. Things have been going great, especially during an election year. Ooh, I love an election year. Every 2 to 4 years, everyone acts shocked that the U.S. government is still the U.S. government. It's that shit is wild to me. See, I've understood for a while now that the U.S. government is run like a corporation, right? And I've had a corporate job, so I know what to expect from leadership. Okay, in my 20s, I worked in a major drugstore chain. And there was one morning I went into work, and there was a memo up on the bulletin board from the corporate office, and it was addressed to every general manager across the country. And the ask was to please refrain from illicit sexual activity with, quote, prostitutes in the office, break room, or stock room during business hours. Do you understand the specificity of this memo? Like, we know you're going to be up to some filth, but can you please close the store first? Or if you can't wait, do it in the walk-in fridge. Like, that's where we're at. That was a patriotic memo. That was the most American memo I have ever read in my life. It's fantastic. I love being in Portland. Portland is one of my favorite places that I've been so far. I'm looking for somewhere else. But I love Portland. I love Portland. I love repping Portland wherever I'm out and about elsewhere. But I do not love the things people say about us when I'm out and about. A lot of people throughout the country seem to have this idea in their heads that people in Portland are passive-aggressive. Because we are, and that's fine. I'll own up to that. But then those exact same people will turn around and claim that we set the whole city on fire. And that's not passive. That's not us. That's not us. At most, we set like 1/10 of the city on fire. We looted one store, and then we were like, they know how we feel, and we went home. That's how Portland riots. We gotta stay on brand. I also get offended when people claim that we're passive-aggressive in how we drive. That's not fair or true at all. Every city in this great nation gets one fucked up driving technique. And Minneapolis already claimed passive aggression, so we don't get it. We don't get to have that one. Some of my favorites that I have learned throughout the years. I first learned to drive in a little town called Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin. And you know it's the boonies because it's named after the state it's in and the geological feature that happens to pass through it. That's a warning. It's like you're not supposed to stay. Nature doesn't want to stay here. Our maneuver in Wisconsin Rapids, Wisconsin, is that you just go the speed limit, no matter what's happening. It can be raining, it can be snowing, there can be a 2-inch sheet of ice on the ground. There could be literal fire and brimstone raining from the heavens. You just learn to turn into the skid. That was our move. I also like Seattle's maneuver. Seattle's, as far as I can tell, you just drive as fast as you possibly can, and you never touch the brake for anything short of a collision. It's amazing, you know? I think the theory is that if you're going fast enough, the particles of one vehicle will pass through the vehicles of another and just cancel each other out. That's next level thinking right there. Chicago has one of my all-time favorite driving techniques. In Chicago, every lane is a passing lane, including the shoulder and sidewalk. And I understand if you've never been to Chicago, that might sound very dangerous, but the middle of the street is where old men congregate to have very long conversations, so it's safer this way. But the winner of my all-time favorite driving technique is Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And the way this technique works, as you pull up to a red light, you rear end the vehicle ahead of you. You jump out of your vehicle, pull the other driver out of their vehicle, and beat the fuck out that nigga with a shoe. It's a great maneuver. Always gets me where I'm going. Every time, even if I don't reach my destination, I just feel better. It's like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. Portland's driving technique is that none of us know what the fuck we're doing, ever. There's no way of knowing. There's no way of knowing. Even if someone bothers to use their turn signal, you're like, but are you turning? But are you? Are you? I'm not falling forward this time. You're not gonna stop. Unless, of course, and let me ask you this, Portland, because this has been bugging me the entire time I've lived here. Why do you come to a complete stop in the middle of a right-hand turn? That's the adventure turn. You don't brake for a right turn. You just Tokyo drift that shit. That's the point. That's the fun of a right turn. Why do you come to a complete stop when merging? That's not a thing we do. That's not merging. That's stopping, which is the opposite of merging. Portland, may I please ask why? Why do you stop in the middle of changing lanes? Why do you do that? Why almost come into my lane? Like, you're already in my lane. You're already inconveniencing me, but you're also inconveniencing the driver behind you in the other lane. It's a bad maneuver. I don't like that maneuver. I think we should reconsider it. But I also feel like I'm being kind of a bigot, because I understand that everyone in Portland is polyamorous and bisexual. So changing lanes all the way, just not really our vibe, I guess. So this show is called Mix Dahlia Bell and Friends, and that is because friendship is very near and dear to me. It's the most important thing in the entire world. That is my opinion. If you want me to get philosophic ever so slightly, because it's my autistic special interest, ideally, I envision a society of friends. I just want everyone to live like friends. You know, if you see someone in need, you help them. If you have something that someone else needs, you help them out, and they'll probably do the same, because we're humans, and ultimately, we don't suck as much as we try to every day. Friendship is very important. I've had the semblance of success. I've had a concept of a plan for success. recently. It's really coming together. And what I've learned in that process is the true meaning of friendship and the value of friendship. I didn't get lost in the sauce. I didn't suddenly think that I was actually a celebrity. I didn't actually think I was rich and famous or any of that silliness that doesn't really exist. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's just a bunch of friends hyping each other up to the extent that you think we're famous and matter. And I've learned which of my friends will hype me up and which of my friends will talk shit behind my back. And it was predictable. Like there was an established pattern already in play. I'm not gonna lie. Nothing I've accomplished has changed the dynamic. They just followed through on what I knew to expect. So, some of the comics I will be bringing up tonight, all of them, honestly, are some of my dearest friends. I have known them the entire time I've done comedy. They have been with me for my successes. They have been with me for my failures. They have been with me when I was seriously on some bullshit. Being friends with me is an investment. I do some shit sometimes, these friendships should have ended a few times, but they have not. So it is genuinely my honor to bring each and every one of these comics to the stage. That is, of course, a true story. They really did call me. They were in tears. I had to pop my partner's strap out of my mouth. Still had a bit of lockjaw. I'm like, what do you want, girl? Very awkward. Before I say anything else, I do want to say I do like to feign humility because it makes me seem more relatable. But admittedly, I have had a very privileged past couple of years. It has been very exciting. Last year, I went on my first 2 international flights. I had never been out of the country before. It was amazing. The first international flight I took was to Canada, Midwest of North America. I would say it's special, but it's not. It's really not. But all my friends got very excited for me. They thought I was kicking off my first world tour, and I broke their little comic hearts because I was just going to help celebrate my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. Not as exciting for comics because most comics don't talk to their parents. But again, I'm privileged. So yes, it was very exciting. You know, my parents have been together for 50 years. They have successfully resented each other for half a century. I'd have killed the nigga by now, but my mom, she's in it to win it. She's in it to win it on that life insurance policy. She is not giving up. She's like, he'll die. He'll die any day now. It's beautiful. When I told my friends the real reason I was going to Canada, they were all shocked. They're like, Dahlia, we didn't even know you were from Canada. And they didn't know that because I'm not. Which then led to the other obvious question, did your parents retire in Canada? And no, my parents live in Minnesota, which then begs the question, why did we fly to Canada? And having gone and returned, I can now confidently say, I have no fucking clue. I don't know why I got a passport to go to Minnesota. It was weird to me. But it was exciting. It was exciting going on my first international flight. I learned so many things. I learned that there are specific dimensions that your luggage has to be. Like your luggage can't be too large. It can't weigh too much on an international flight. And I am fancy. So I was not prepared for that. My luggage did not meet those requirements at all. So it was very embarrassing. Everybody trying to board the plane. I'm trying to stuff all the dildos in pockets, shoving all the drugs up my butt, trying to get my luggage flat, you know? But I got on the plane And what I didn't know is that everything, at least in Toronto, has to be bilingual. It has to at least be in English and French. So I got to ignore the safety demonstration twice. Once in each language. It was very interesting. I learned not a bit of French. I'm lazy. I've hardly mastered English. I've been doing this a while. The real reason I say that Canada is the Midwest of North America is because I found out, and you probably all know because you're cultured and mostly because you're white, you're likely already aware that the national food of Canada is poutine. Yes. And do we all know what poutine consists of? Of course you do. Again, you're white. You love weird foods. I did not know. I was unaware. And for anyone else who's unaware, because you have taste buds, poutine is French fries. Almost melted cheese curds smothered in brown gravy. It looks like a mistake. I was offended the first time this arrived at my table. I was like, why is there vomit on my plate before I start drinking? That's not how we do it. But here's the real reason I say Canada is the Midwest of North America. At more than one restaurant, this dish was on the salad menu. And that is the most Midwestern shit I've ever seen in my life. That was next level. My next international flight was to London. For those of you who don't know, I went out to London to record a little Netflix special. Yes, it was fantastic. And if you've seen the Netflix special, you may have noticed that I'm a little heavier than I was on the special. And that's because we spent a week just running around London eating food that was exclusively made of food. So I lost a ton of weight that I gained back with interest the moment I landed back in the States. Just the moment we got back, I'm like, oh, I'm bloated suddenly. It hurts just a little bit more for me, though, anytime I'm performing now, being aware of that. Because everyone always says the camera adds 20 pounds. But living in the United States adds 40 pounds, so it evens out. I have been trying to get back in shape since getting back to the States by doing absolutely nothing. Figure that's the way to go, you know? Like, if I move too much, that's gonna add something. I don't know. I like to sit perfectly still under a pile of cats. I think it's gonna work. When I first got back from London, I was feeling ambitious. I wanted to keep the weight off, so I went ahead and I bought a treadmill. Unfortunately, I did it at the same time as adopting a kitten. And the thing with exercise equipment, you're always really dedicated to it, right? Like for the first month. You know, no matter what the equipment is, it could be an exercise bike, a treadmill, an elliptical, a boyfriend. And you're like, you're really into it for the first month, and then you just lose interest and never use it again. And that's what happened with the treadmill, but now the kitten already has it in her head that this is what I do. Like, I'm treadmill mommy. So now she wakes me up every morning to body shame me. She's like, get off the treadmill! Like, I don't even like you. It was wild going to London, especially for that particular reason, because they issued me a temporary travel visa to be in the UK. And the wording was amazing because it has to meet certain qualifications. So it stated that it was of crucial importance for me to be in the United Kingdom for that duration of time, telling jokes about my booty hole to strangers. Like, it was Do you understand? Had I stayed in London just a little bit longer, there wouldn't even be a conflict in the Middle East. I would just one booty hole joke short of world peace. I knew I was in a little over my head. I very much felt like I was being abducted the whole time because they would just send me emails very sporadically every few weeks, sometimes a month in between to give me updates. And one of them, it was like, what is your preferred car service? And I responded, usually the bus or Uber. And they're like, that's not what we meant, and override. So they sent a private town car to my house at like 5 in the morning to drive me to the airport. It was wild. I'm like, we're either going to London or I'm about to die. I have definitely walked into a trap. I am this gullible. I knew it. I knew it. It was embarrassing because the driver didn't even like sing to me in a falsetto. Like then I would have an excuse, you know? Like if someone pulled up to me in a kidnapper van, pulled open the back door and was like, get into my cool room, I'd jump in that motherfucker. That makes sense. That makes sense. The nigga sings pretty. But in this case, I just got in a random vehicle to hopefully go to London. But it was amazing. I got to see how the rich people live. Right? They flew me out business class to London. So I had my own little studio apartment that was larger than my first studio apartment. I had my own sectional sofa. I had a little mini fridge. I had my own bidet. It was phenomenal. And I was looking at the menu and I'm sweating bullets. You know, I'm like, what am I going to eat? Do I want the salmon or the lasagna? They don't even have prices. That means it's out of my price range. And then I realized they weren't giving me a choice. They were just letting me know what was coming in different courses, multi-course meal. And the flight attendant asked me what I wanted to drink, and I thought I was going to be bougie. I'm like, yes, this is my day, diva mode. And I was like, I would like a glass of the white port. And then she looked at me like I was flying coach. She was like, the white port comes with dessert. What do you want for your pre-meal drink? And what I learned in that moment is that rich people are tore the fuck up all the time. It's amazing. I now understand why they're full of shit. Like if I was that drunk at all times, I would say the wildest shit too. I absolutely would. It was amazing. I want to be that tore up. I can't afford that, you know? Poor people, we drink what? We drink beer, right? Shots of liquor. This is Portland, each other's urine, you know? But rich people, I mean, they drink each other's urine too, but just because it's fun. But no, they'll also drink cocktails, mixed drinks, liquor cut with more liquor. And I'm not rich, but I sure do drink like I am. I'm a thing. It's wild for me traveling. It's strange for me to do this as my career because I don't actually like traveling. I love nothing more than being home. You know, because everything I do to make money is so that I can pay rent, so I don't have to talk to people. And it seems counterproductive than when this is how I do that, but it's fine. Here we are. It's very strange traveling. Every time I fly, I get sick. I either get like a sinus infection or I get bronchitis. Earlier this year, I got pneumonia. It was awful. And what I found out, I have to wear a mask anytime I fly now because apparently I'm too old to be out here raw dogging air. I can't do it. I can't do it anymore. Every time I leave my house, I'm like, that air hit me too hard. Whew. I'm going to be hungover for the next 7 to 14 days. Please don't call me. So it is always a special gift if I just get to drive to an out-of-town gig. And I was recently staying up in Seattle with a very dear friend of mine named Bobby. She's a drag queen, so it's a bad friendship. It's not healthy. But I pull up to her place, and as I get out of my car, the first words out of her mouth aren't, "Hi, Dahlia, how are you? Hey, Dahlia, how was the drive?" The first words out of her mouth were, "Girl, are you wearing a fake Burberry shawl?" And no, I will have you know, I was not. That is not what was happening. I was not wearing a fake Burberry shawl. I was wearing a genuine counterfeit Burberry cape. Put some respect on my accessory game, okay? I don't wear shawls. I'm not your grandmama. I'm a diva. I wear capes. And then she snapped back at me with her little purity test, and she's like, "Well, Dahlia, you know, when you buy counterfeit goods, you help fund terrorist organizations." And yeah, I do actually know that. I also know that the United States government also funds terrorist organizations, and I'm still required to pay taxes. So, at least when I do it my way, I get a cute cape out of the deal. I'm basically a superhero. But I couldn't stay mad at her. I couldn't stay completely mad at her, because the next morning, she very sweetly, very kindly woke me up with a fresh cup of coffee right by my bedside. And like I said, I'm a Portland baby. I love Portland. So I asked the same question any other red-blooded Portlander would. I said, "How much liquor is in this coffee?" Because I just want to know what we're trying to do for the day. Like, are we planning to go somewhere? Are we trying to sleep through the whole afternoon? I just need to set intentions for my coffee, you know? And then she had the gall to say to me, "Well, Dahlia, I don't typically drink this early in the morning." Like she's better than me. And she's not better than me, she's just immature. All right? Some of us are grown-ups, we've been through some things, we've lived our lives, we need to drown our demons early. And I hate that. I hate when immature people decide that a drug that doesn't work for them is bad for everybody else. I hate that. I hate that shit. It's so immature to me, you know? Like, obviously, if you're trying to hang out all night, maybe hit a few clubs, you know, paint the town red with your friends, then obviously you should not do heroin. That's not gonna yield the results you're looking for. If, however, your primary goal for the day is to take a nap in the middle of the afternoon while standing up and never quite touch the ground, heroin is a solid choice for that specific activity. Let's say you pride yourself on being real laid back, just relaxed, like to have a few friends over for a quiet dinner party, watch some Netflix, catch a few ha-has. Then no, you shouldn't do meth. Meth is a terrible drug for you. If, however, you intend to bottom in a gangbang and start multiple mechanical projects tonight, meth is the drug for you. That's the one. That's the PNP, my guy. The party and play. That's the one you go for. That's why they give it to Marines. So, true story. One thing I've noticed that really bothers me when I'm traveling around the United States is a very serious issue that I don't think people discuss often enough. It's the lack of bidets. It makes me feel like I can't trust my fellow citizen to not have booty cheeks full of crust. I don't like that. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't trust you. I don't trust you if you don't have a bidet. And I want to be clear, this isn't like a classist thing, okay? It's not. Despite my false appearances, I am not a wealthy woman. I just have one of those like basic entry-level bidets you get from like grocery outlet, okay? You know the one that just like shoots an ice cold stream of water directly against your intestine? It hurts. I don't like it. I don't like it. But it's a price I'm willing to pay to keep my booty ate. You understand? Like, you gotta make sacrifices sometimes. And I'm an old-fashioned sort of gal, you know? So I don't go for that little weird fake internet lesbian booty eating where it's just a little weird little lizard tongue right around the edges. No, I'm a believer. I'm a true believer, and a booty hole is not ate until Giardia is a serious consideration. That is the requirement. That's the minimum for eating ass. Bobby, my friend Bobby, does not have a basic entry-level bidet because she's a drag queen, so she's royalty. So she has one of those top-of-the-line bidets. It has a heated seat, a little night light, a remote control, all sorts of different pulse and pressure settings you can go through, and I try it out each and every one. What I'm saying is I masturbate with a friend's bidet for like half an hour. Luckily, she's a narcissist, so she didn't bother to check on me. It was great. Try out every pulse setting. And then, just to finish me off, it had a heated blow dryer, just a little... like a choir of baby angels blowing on your anus. It was heavenly. It was heavenly. Rochelle was talking about being Catholic and growing up Catholic, and I recently learned that according to the Vatican, unbaptized babies and aborted fetuses don't go to heaven, they go to purgatory. And now I can't get the image out of my head of the streets of purgatory just being paved with flopping babies and fetuses. It is a fucked up image. It's been keeping me up at night. There's no point to me sharing this. I don't want to be the only one with this image in my head. And then I was puzzled because theoretically, like, purgatory is where you purify your soul and earn your way into heaven. So I'm trying to figure out how these little babies and fetuses earn their way through the pearly gates. And I think it's being the blow dryer in luxury bidets. So I was sharing my bidet experience with another friend of mine who's a burlesque performer, and she stopped me. She just put a finger over my lips. She's like, shh. Girl, do you not know? I'm like, what? What do I not know about a bidet? And she told me, you can use the pulse setting and the blow dryer at the same time, girl. I was that close to being raptured, and I didn't know. Like, how is that not on the instruction manual? The 3-minute setting. I don't know. Now, I love my friends, and it's important to have a wide variety of friends, you know? So obviously I have Bobby. Bobby's wealthy. Bobby is royalty in the drag world. Love her to death. And then on the other hand, I also have a friend who has what I think are best described as unhoused ambitions. You know what I mean? She's the sort of person that's always in and out of very questionable living circumstances. Like, are you subletting or are you just squatting? It's never very clear. So my partner and I, we decided it would be cool to just let her live with us for like 2-3 months, all expenses paid. And a year later, what we realized is that we now had multiple shopping carts, a shanty town made of tarps, and 2 non-functioning vehicles in our front lawn, which is actually amazing because we live in an apartment. I I don't know how it works. Like, literally, mathematically, I don't know how she managed. So I finally took her aside. I'm like, hey, not being judgy or nothing, but what's with the tarp fort out front? And she was like, I just love camping. And that is an adorable and whimsical answer when given by a toddler under a dining room table. It's a very strange answer when given by a fully housed adult. You know what I mean? It's very confusing. But I'm like, okay, fine. Just stop using the charcoal girl. But have you ever considered, maybe, I don't know, crazy idea, selling one of the non-functioning vehicles to pay for the repairs on the other non-functioning vehicle? And she refuses because, and I quote her directly, homes gain equity. And I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know what that means in terms of real estate, and I definitely don't know what it means in terms of 2 vehicles without batteries. I have no idea what to do with that information. Before anyone thinks I'm punching down, I need you to know that that friend does the exact same thing I do. She's also a stand-up comic. And in her version of this joke, the moral is, at least she knows how to be homeless. And she's right. I'm not gonna lie, I've been following her around for the past couple of weeks, just taking notes. Did you know that everything at the Whole Foods salad bar is free if you just leave? Did you know? So many people want rich and famous friends. Rich and famous friends won't do much for you. They'll just show you things that you can never actually have for yourself. Your homeless friends will shoplift about a month's worth of groceries at a time. Keep your fridge stocked. If you can befriend the unhoused, I highly recommend it. Pro tip from me to you. And that just means friend a comedian. We're all unhoused. Unless we find a very tolerant partner. I am very privileged. Like I said, I did find a very tolerant partner. I am in a T for T relationship. Yes, many of you are confused. We already established you're straight. That's okay. For those of you who aren't familiar with the term T for T, a T for T relationship is when 2 or more, typically more, trans people get involved in a romantic or sexual, we don't like calling them relationships, we prefer enmeshment. We get in an enmeshment, and the way it works is that we both just like fold our booty holes into one another, exchange long strands of DNA, and form one new gender. It's amazing. It's a miracle of nature. It's like a butterfly. Love my partner to death. It's great being in a T for T relationship because our relationship can be interpreted in infinite ways depending on your personal perspective or worldview. And however you choose to view our relationship, it pisses off conservatives. And that makes me so happy. That's all I'm trying to do with my existence. I just want to make old white people mad. And I've been killing it my whole life. I came to my trans experience the old-fashioned way. I had to work my way through some stages. Back in middle school, I tried very hard to pass as a cisgender heterosexual boy. And I passed very convincingly as a strangely effeminate lesbian. It was the best I could do. It was the best I had. I was just the only girl in my friend group who didn't know how to fix things. That was as far as I got. So then I figured I may as well try my hands at being a gay boy. And I found out very quickly that gay men aren't really into girls. So that didn't work out either. So then I figured since I was striking out with both men and women, obviously I'm bi. And Went with that for a bit. And then after a lot more internal exploration and questioning, I finally landed on trans because there was nowhere left to go in the acronym at that time. However, since that time, they have since added the Q, queer. And I love queer as an identity because it's a lot like being gay, only I can engage with people of any and every gender and it's still gay, no matter what. So that one really hits home. And if you don't make your way through the acronym incrementally, I don't think you can fully appreciate the real meaning of Pride Month. You know, because that's what Pride Month is all about. It's just our annual convention when we get all the queers together and we vote on the next identity we're all going to claim to make straight people confused. That's what we're doing. That's the entire point. Like, how many Google searches will this one take? That is the goal. I also used to write a bit more about being queer, but I've tried to whittle that material down just a little bit because I feel it's obnoxious. Honestly, in 2024, it's just kind of obnoxious to be a trans woman in general, you know? Because in the last 12 months, I have heard more than one transgender woman refer to her own genitals as a peen. And I have heard more than one transgender woman refer to her own genitals as a gawk, an apparent portmanteau of girl, cock. And now I'm transphobic. I can't do it. I get it now. I get why we annoy the rest of you. It's all so clear to me now. I just feel that as trans women, we owe it to ourselves. If we're going to do something as obnoxiously juvenile as naming our own genitals, we owe it to ourselves to name them after prominent women of history. You know what I mean? So, for example, I refer to my genitals as Harriet Tubman. Because they're difficult to find. See, it's educational and accurate. I like that. My partner and I, we are both elder millennials, so we're 90s queers, you know, the red queer generation. We were the generation that brought you such slogans as "we're here, we're queer, fuck you." You know? We brought you slogans like "we bash back," red queers. And this past weekend, we stayed up late multiple times needle felting cat hair into little balls with bells and catnip in the middle for our 4 cats to play with. Because this is 2024, and that is the new queer agenda. That is our agenda right now. Just leave me alone and get your damn kids off my lawn. It's wild to me when conservatives are like, leave the kids alone, and we're like, we don't want kids around. Did you miss why we're doing this? I upped my game this last year. I got an orchiectomy. And for those of you who don't know, an orchiectomy just means you can now greet me by loudly exclaiming, "Hey, no nuts," and I'll find it very affirming. That's what an orchiectomy is. And before doing the procedure, the surgeon is ethically required to inform me that I will be unable to conceive my own children afterwards, which was a huge relief. Because if I could still conceive children, it would mean he had reversed the vasectomy I got 20 years earlier. And I would be furious. Are you kidding me? I have done everything in my power over the last 20 years to be as infertile as humanly possible, including but not limited to angrily yelling at my testicles. Just waking up first thing every morning, looking in the mirror, "You're useless, get out of here!" Y'all are silly. Y'all are so silly. I do think I got a vasectomy a little earlier than a lot of people, and with good reason. In my early 20s, I did get married. I know, I'm just as confused as you are. But I did get married in my early 20s because I wanted my family to keep talking to me, and I regret that. But my parents talking to me, not the marriage, that's fine. I got married in my early 20s, and over the course of a couple of years, I accidentally colonized another woman's uterus. And I felt awful about it because it was difficult. For her, not for me. All I had to do was finish. It was easy peasy. But it looked rough as hell for her. And I felt awful about it. So being a pacifist, I decided to disarm. And as it turns out, that's how you enact an effective ceasefire. You just cut off the weapons. That's all you gotta do. Mission accomplished. You've been beautiful. I love you. Have a great night, Helium.